Hello everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Star Trek Aristotle, an original series game using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is ELH the Game Master, and joining me are four intrepid individuals who will meet right away, because tonight will be very interesting for at least one or two characters. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's go down the line. Mr. Shizno, if you'd care to introduce yourself and let the folks know what you're playing at home.
Well, I am playing Captain Cullen. He is the weird, eccentric captain, hopefully. And, yeah. The only thing I got going on for myself right now is that I'm losing my winter fat and gaining my spring rolls.
I see.
Yeah. King Cairo, you're up next.
Hello. My name's King Cairo. That didn't mean for that to rhyme. I play Lieutenant Commander Krell, the bully and chief engineer of the USS Aristotle. And let's see what I'm playing at home. Well, I'm playing a lot of Helldivers right now.
It's a solid game.
Oh, you managed to get through.
Oh yeah, they fixed that, thankfully.
All right, Arwen, you're up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Arwen, and I am playing the Aristotle's communications officer, Lieutenant Thestral. And I apparently am one of the few people who is not playing Hellfire right now.
Well, there you go. Because it's Helldivers, not Hellfire.
Oh,
That may be your problem. Yeah.
That's just move on from me, please. I'm just gonna dive.
All right, Professor X, you're up next.
Hello, it's Hex again. I'm sorry once again, but I'm here. I am the USS Aristotle's Chief of Security, Matoga, the Orion. Yeah, and I have been playing Hellfire, actually, the popular song from the hit Disney musical, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I kind of want to hear it, but at the same time, we got to play Star Trek, so we'll just all have to get back to you on that one.
It's far too erotic.
It really is. It really is. Anyway, let's get that intro video going. And welcome back. So, something I like doing for all my Star Trek Adventures games is have the players do an opening log, and I believe Lieutenant Commander Krell has that honor tonight, so please take it away.
Alrighty. Chief Engineer's personal log, stardate 2196.2. Captain Collins ordered the Aristotle towards the black hole Gaia Tau in response to a distress call from a stranded Klingon cargo ship, dangerously close to the event horizon. This knot in my gut won't budge, so I've buried myself in shield modifications and reinforcing bulkheads to pass the time. It's not doing much. I've dodged those lobster-headed barbarians for a solid decade, and now I'll likely find myself crawling through the guts of their filthy ship to save them. It'd be almost comical if it wasn't happening to me. Here's hoping the captain's got a trick or two up his sleeve for when this mission inevitably turns messy. End log.
Very nice. And you may have one momentum for that emotional outpour, which brings you up to 2 momentum to start the session with, thanks to chat. So, where we're going to begin is you all are a dramatically appropriate amount of time away from arriving at the black hole, where you will have to rescue the IKS Klang. And you all are all currently comparing notes and last-minute items of agenda in the conference room right off of the bridge. So, Captain Cullen, you've just received a report from Commander Rivers. She has more or less given you the tactical information of the ship. And so we drop in character. She says, and honestly, sir, there's nothing of tactical value aboard the ship. I mean, it is a Klingon vessel, so we can expect it to have at least a few disruptor banks, but I mean, in an X class would probably be able to shoot the thing out of the water.
So, no risk to the crew, aside from maybe a couple of disruptor burns if they decide to get toasty with us.
Something like that. And River looks over to you, Matoga. Correct me if I'm wrong, but our shields won't be affected by a Type 2 disruptor, yes?
I'm sorry, were you saying something? I was thinking about. Well, you don't want to know what I was thinking about.
Well, let me get you back in the moment. Will a Type 2 disruptor have any issue with our shields?
I don't believe so, unless that Type 2 disruptor has been, let us say, extracurricularly modified.
Hmm. And at this, River looks to you, Thestral, and goes, Thestral, have you heard anything about the Clang?
Have I heard anything about the Clang?
Let's do a roll. Let's do a reason and science, because technically this would be a science roll. And the ship will assist you with a communications and science. This will be a difficulty of 1.
Okay.
Come on, complication.
Well, we already got 2. And again, it is communication science for whoever wants to roll the Aristotle. Okay, no help from the Aristotle, but you still get 2 successes, bringing you up to 3 momentum total. So, Thestral, you're going to get the nugget of information that the Clang is basically a tug that shows up to haul the scraps of dilithium left over on like a dig. Like if there's a major dig or processing facility that just can't afford or doesn't want to pay the big bucks to move dilithium or dilithium adjacent substances, the Clang is one of those tugs that shows up to do the job.
So what I've heard from my sources, especially a very chatty communications officer on Starbase 5 named Vasarja, is that the Clang is typically a workhorse, and it is usually associated with tug duties around less than desirable, very difficult dilithium-related tasks.
Hmm. And then River
Very well.
looks to you, Krell. Lieutenant Commander Krell, are we going to have an issue with your back history and the Klingons?
Krell gives Rivers a stiff look and says, "No, Commander, no problem."
Good, good. Then, Captain, before I shut up and let you run the meeting, the only other thing I have to report is that our friend from the Pantry 4 situation, they send their regards, whatever that means to you.
Just stares for a moment. Oh, okay. Sure.
Captain, if I may add something here. We're talking about the potential external threat scenarios of the Klingons, but I don't think we should miss out on discussing the effect that this mission is having on on the crew. I do my best to stay out of the minds and emotions of other people around me, but sometimes things slip, and the anxiety level is pretty high among the crew.
Thestral, you didn't read what I was thinking earlier, did you?
I'll never tell.
Good man.
Right. Let's Rivers, organize a little party or distraction, shorten some shifts, allow people some more downtime.
Aye, sir. I will arrange for a 4-shift rotation so that more people can spend time off.
If I may, my king, when we make contact with the Clang, I would suggest that everyone is quietly outfitted with personal protective equipment, so to speak. The kind that is aimable and fireable, if you get my meaning, because well, we can't be too delicate about the potential for violence.
We do have to tread a fine line, though. We don't want to cause another incident that would lead to a whole, let's say, skirmish.
Well, as long as our crewmates do not have itchy trigger fingers, that should not be a problem.
And
Sounds like a
Captain-
round of firing range training will be in order.
Captain, I normally I would be against carrying firearms on this mission, but with the Klingons, culturally it would make sense to show us as they come from a position of strength.
Precisely. Peace through superior firepower, as they say.
I'll take it under advisement.
And I think in that pause is when the current helmsman reports, "Sir, we're dropping at a warp."
All right, scan the area and keep an eye on shields. Just get them ready to raise if need be.
"Aye, sir."
All right, dismissed. Let's get to work.
All right. So as you all adjourn to the bridge, again, the Aristotle Bridge isn't the largest thing in the world because you are a tiny little vessel meant for just going from place to place. With all of you on the bridge, it's very much a tight scenario where you're just kind of not shoulder to shoulder, but pretty close. But what matters is on the view screen is two very important objects. The first object is a black hole. It is, standard black hole. You've kind of got that void in the middle, got an accretion disk around it of light, bright whites and yellows and reds. And then you have the IKS Clang. Now, the IKS Clang, as I said before, is a workhorse, as Thestral put it. And what I mean by that is I want you to take a rectangular prism, so kind of a stretched out rectangle into a 3D object. I want you to put a Klingon bird of prey head at one end, the bird of prey wings on the other end, and then maybe take some Packlid-like impulse and warp engines and tack those on too. It is, by far, the most ugly and utterly just trash heap of a vessel any of you have ever seen. But the important part about the Clang is that it is dangerously close to the event horizon of the black hole. At current moments, and this is things Thestral you would get, Thestral, they're about maybe 10 minutes from falling into the black hole. And to make things even more interesting, your tractor beam will have extreme difficulty getting a tractor lock with all the interference from the accretion disk.
Captain, based on the readings I'm seeing here, it looks like the Clang is 10.25 minutes from hitting the event horizon.
Right, let's hail them, see if we can get them on screen, let them know we're here to help.
Aye, sir. Hailing frequencies open.
This is Aristotle. We're messaging you the Klingon ship known as Clang. We are here to render assistance so you don't fall into the black hole.
So appearing on screen is a similarly cramped bridge, and there is a portly Klingon in the seat when this view screen comes on, and he kind of looks at you all and goes, "I am Groth, son of Kolag, and I am the captain of the IKS Clang. It is good that you have come, Starfleet. We are in very much danger of losing both our lives and our cargo."
Understood. The radiation in the vicinity, though, is going to make it a little bit difficult, so prepare for a bumpy ride. If you can do anything to increase your structural integrity, I'd recommend it.
My engineer has done her best so far, but I fear that time is not on our side. However, I would like to propose a perhaps miracle worker scenario.
Go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, our life support system cannot support more than 4 individuals at a time. So, if you are willing to send one of your miracle working engineers that Starfleet is known for, I myself will come over to your vessel as a retainer until the repairs have been made and to ensure the safe return of your crew.
Normally, it's the custom to have 2 officers go over to render assistance. I'm sure we can have one of them in an EVA suit, though, so they're not taking up any life support.
Perhaps. Again, if you can't tell by my glorious bridge, there is very little room to maneuver.
Well, I'll make sure they're small.
Very well. We await your transport coordinates.
Let's look over to Thestral to give them a nod to cut comms.
Channel closed, Captain. ELH, what am I
Yes.
thinking about? Was he behaving? Were his, I don't know, his mannerisms and behaviors within the typical parameters for a Klingon under that kind of stress?
I would
Any
say
kind of,
that he's, if I had to use a stereotype, he's definitely being more of a Worf than he is being a Gowron, if that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense.
that makes, yeah, crystal clear, actually. So no subterfuge, doesn't sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Lieutenant Commander Krell, Lieutenant Commander Matoga. Get what you need to go over there.
Of course, sir. I presume that I will be the one in the tin can, yes?
Yes.
Well, it's good that I make the environmental suit look particularly fashionable then. No offense, Krill.
Krell looks up suddenly, just lost in thought, says, "Oh, none taken."
Oh, good. That would have been awkward.
All right.
Thestral, can you relay them our coordinates when we get close? Let them know that we'll be beaming rather soon due to the time crunch.
Yes, Captain.
Helm, take us in.
Yes, sir. And then, just as a logistics point of view, are you going to send River down to this transport room to see that the transfer happen, or are you going to go yourself, Captain?
He'll go himself.
Okay. So we do one of those wipe screens where we now emerge into the transport room of the Aristotle. Cullen, you're there. Matoga, you're in your suit. Krell, you've got whatever you want to bring with you, which I suppose we should pause for a moment to ask if there's any extra equipment you want to bring. You are at 3 momentum, so you can spend for additional equipment if you so wish.
I was actually hoping Thestral would, in the preparations, be able to get some more technical information on the Clang, and perhaps it's like some more details on what's currently wrong with it. So that would better inform my decision.
Okay, yeah, we can have that happen. Let me just check Thestral's engineering score. Yeah, I'm remembering these characters because it has been a moment. So yeah, Thestral, if you want to give me a reason in engineering, and then the Aristotle will assist you with a sensors engineering. I am going to make the difficulty a 2 here because of the interference from the black hole.
Yeah, I was wondering when the black hole interference was going to come up. Okay, I would like to spend a momentum then to get an additional die here.
Okay.
And I don't have any focuses that will help here. All right, here we go.
Aristotle
2.
just missed it, but you still got your 2 successes, and that's what matters. So, Thestral, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news?
Oh, buddy. give me it all, please.
All right. Well, the bad news is that their impulse reactors are more or less failing because of an improperly focused linear Verteron phase chamber, And at the same time,
Of
they're
course.
also doing with a cascade resonance failure within their warp core. So it's just a whole lot of fun going on over there right now.
Krell, you have your work cut out for you over there. There's a cascade resonance failure going on, and crap, went out of my head. The linear. What did you
I
say?
put it in chat. That's what the technobabble
Oh, you put it
macro
in
is
chat?
for.
Linear Verteron phase chamber.
Linear Verteron phase chamber. Yeah, they're having difficulties there too.
Of course they are.
You've got this. You have this. You are
Yes.
Starfleet.
The good news is you only require 10 minutes. Plenty of time.
Krell just gives Matoga a daggered stare. Just glares at him for a second before turning back to to Thestral and says, "Well, thank you, Lieutenant. I will do my best."
You always do your best. We are in such good hands, and you never know what impact this could have down the line on the relations between our two cultures.
The only way I can see this impacting our relationship is if it deteriorates them. But I have a job to do, so let's get this shit done.
I won't keep you, sir.
All right.
Okie dokie. Let's see. I would probably bring down some portable power cells and like an elevated engineering diagnostic system,
Okay.
probably.
I'll say for those two things, you can spend one momentum to get what you want.
Alrighty.
And once you have that equipment and you're in the transporter room, Captain, do you give the permission to energize to bring the captain of the Klang over?
Kind of stares off for a moment and then snaps back too. And he's like, "Right, you all ready?"
Matoga will give a stiff thumbs up.
Right.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Initiate transport.
So, appearing on the transporter pad is that same very rotund Klingon captain, Groth, son of Krolag. And when he fully materializes and looks around, he goes, "Ha! This is a small but worthy vessel. And you must be Captain Cullen." And he walks, or I guess I shouldn't say walks, he waddles off the pad and offers out a very pudgy hand. "It is a pleasure to meet you."
He'll take the hand and do the Klingon grasp. He was like, "Pleasure to meet you as well, Captain. These are the two officers I'll be sending over. Lieutenant Commander Krell and his assistant, Matoga."
Well, let us not stand on ceremony. They have only so much time to work. Please, get on the pad and get going.
Can I,
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Krell.
I was just going to say, Krell just nods to the captain and walks onto the transporter pad, largely trying to ignore the Klingon in the room.
Similar to the elephant in the room.
Yes, but smellier.
There's an elephant here? Nobody said anything about that.
But you were saying, Hex?
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could sort of requisition, just both as a safety measure and as a show of force to the rest of the Klingon crew when we arrive. I was going to have a Type 3 phaser.
Ooh. Well,
Phaser
it
rifle.
would be a momentum and a threat, but you could not only have a Type 3 phaser for you, but a Type 3 phaser for Krell as well.
Oh no, Krell doesn't get one. Krell's a loose cannon with nothing to lose.
All right, well,
I mean, if he wants one, he could have one. I mean,
No, it'd probably get in the way with all of his other gear he's carrying. And he is trying to show restraint.
Well, as I said, it's a momentum and threat if I remember the spend correctly.
Go for it.
All right, well, let's do it. Gone, and then get the threat up.
Yep.
Yeah, it is opportunity 1, escalation 1. So
Hey, look at me. I remember correctly. Cool. All right. So you all hop on the transporter pad. The transporter chief does the beam out sequence, and look at that. I have 9 threat. I'm going to spend 2 of it to create a complication. So, Krell, you end up where you're supposed to go, inside the Klingon ship. Matoga, you are not in the Klingon vessel. You are quite literally 10 feet to the left, outside the hull of the vessel.
oh, good. So resisting the urge to scream, Matoga tries to. So this EV suit, right? Are the boots sort of magnetized or anything? Do they have any kind of
You
way
can
that I
activate
can?
that function, yes.
Yes. Am I close enough to the hull that I could conceivably, like, maneuver sort of like the gosh, what do you call those? The sort of retro firing jets or whatever to try to magnetize myself to the hull?
Yeah, it just would be a simple roll. I believe in you. This would be a control and a con, and it is just a difficulty of 1. Actually, probably would
Control.
just be a difficulty. Well, yeah, I'll say a difficulty of 1.
Can I argue for daring if I just like impulsively like kick the retro firing jets or whatever at full blast? Like I'm just rocketing towards the thing.
I will allow you to do daring con, but I will make the complication range an 18 to 20.
That's fine. You know what? That's great, actually. Why don't you make it 17 to 20? How about that? I'll play your game.
You already are.
Oh, yeah. No focuses here, and 2 dice. So, oh, sorry. So the complication range would be, is it 3 technically,
It would be
or is
3
it 2?
when you have
3,
the window up. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you
There we
get the
go.
1 success. You're good. So yeah, you kick the thrusters into high gear and are able to get your boots magnetized on the hull. Krell, you hear a thump to the bulkhead to your left, and if you look at a porthole, you do see that Matoga is indeed on the hull of the vessel.
Just kind of flailing his arms. So as soon as Krell rematerialized and realized Matoga wasn't with him, he would have drawn his phaser. Is there any Klingons in the vicinity?
Actually, yes, there is a female Klingon that is here to greet you, and she doesn't suspect anything's wrong, so she simply offers one of those, I forget if it's the fist bump across the chest or if it's something the Klingons do that isn't a handshake, but it's eluding my mind at the moment.
Yeah,
But
I think it's the fist bump across the chest, because the double fist bump is when they like, no, we're not going to talk to you anymore.
Oh, discommendation. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right, they turn away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the singular fist bump, and she says, "Ah, you must be the Starfleet engineer. My name is Kagax, daughter of Raj, and I am the engineer for this rust bucket."
So I don't have my phaser pointed at her, but it is drawn. And I'm in the middle of saying, what have you done with my or with my security officer, when I hear the thud and see Matoga waving out on the side of the hall, and then says, let's see, what does he say?
He says, "Take me to your leader."
No, he says, "Hello, Commander Krell." He starts to, he's clearly having some difficulties here before he just says, "Damn it, can we get him back inside, please?" Pointing
Very
to the
well. I will
viewport.
have our helmsman walk him to the airlock.
Yes, very, very well. I holster my phaser and say, "Well, we have less than 10 minutes, so let's get going."
Very well. Where would you like to begin? The Resonance Cascade or the problem with the impulse engines?
Well, we don't deal with the cascade. Doesn't matter what we do with the impulse engine, so it must take me to the warp core.
Very well. If you will go through this door here with me. And I don't know if any of you have actually been on like a submarine before, but I did because my dad was Navy captain and needed Tiger cruises. So where Starfleet vessels are very large and the corridors can accommodate very many people of varying sizes. This is not so much. This is very much you have to duck your head. You have to literally like spin the wheel to open doors. Like this ship is not only a rust bucket, but it is an old piece of shit rust bucket. In fact, you're not even sure how the life support system is even working to support 3 Klingons, let alone you and anyone else. So to further paint the picture, as you proceed towards the warp core, it's very hot. It's very humid. It is not the most pleasant of smells, but that's a Klingon vessel for you. But on the way to the warp core, you do pass by the cargo hold, and you do confirm, Krell, that there are... I'm not going to give a specific number, but there is a significant amount of dilithium that if this ship were to ever experience a hull breach or any kind of explosion, it would probably affect not just this ship, but the Aristotle as well, with how close the vessels have to be.
Great.
And while you're moving, real quick, Matoga, you are actually sort of through the porthole. Another Klingon comes over and like waves and points certain directions for you to go.
I just want to make it clear, first of all, though, when he
Yes.
landed on the hull, he took his phaser rifle and he did that thing that like the sand people in Star Wars do, where he's like like moving it up and down in the air in a triumphant motion.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, you're led to an airlock in the opposite direction of where Krell is being led. So you're taken towards the bridge, and the airlock takes far too long. It takes a minute, which you only have precious moments here. But when you get through to the other side, you actually see another female Klingon, and she introduces herself as Gress, daughter of Rasho. Our apologies. Our transporter coordinates must have been off for you to have beamed outside of the vessel.
No matter, daughter of Rashko. I have trod your vessel on the outside and now the inside. Truly, my command of your vessel has only increased.
Ah, you are a warrior at heart. I like that.
And also a lover, but perhaps we can discuss that later.
If I had a targ pen on this rust bucket of a vessel, perhaps we could have dined on a good chunk of meat, but this is not the time for that. Your engineer is being led to our engineering hull. As for you, I believe your services will be best at the bridge with me in working to get our thrusters, buying us precious time.
Very well. Point me towards your issue and I will solve it, like the warrior that I am.
And again, it's a shit bucket of a ship. It's literally one twisty, turny bulkhead, and you're in that bridge that you saw on the view screen earlier. And you could fit maybe 3 people generously in this bridge. And it's also got that Klingon design where it has that random roll bar that comes down from either side next to the captain's chair. So you're having to duck and like squeeze into spaces. But Gress goes to one console, points you to another one, and goes, "Go over there and see what you can do about the thrusters."
He will sort of like, nod just enough to show the minimal amount of deference necessary so that he doesn't look like a weakling. And he'll go over there and he will try to make sense of the mechanical structure over here. I don't think he's ever been on a Klingon vessel.
Well, that might be an interesting point, which may affect your difficulty and or complication range moving forward.
Oh, well, then I didn't say that. That actually, I've been on plenty of them. Actually, I'm really a Klingon. Actually, this is the twist.
Yeah, you're actually Klingon. I love it. Well, as you're figuring that out, we're going to bounce back to Krell, actually. So, Krell, you enter into what fares for a Klingon main engineering bay. And I'd like you to imagine that instead of the standard, warp core with the thrumming and the blue lights and the warp plasma and the EPS and all that going on, you basically have what looks to be two Tesla coils that are standing next to each other. And there's just a series of very powerful bolts of energy that strike between them. And I think it's safe for me to say that even you just looking at this, it's like, this is not only the most crude power generation system you've ever seen in your life, but this is extremely dangerous as well. Like, even for a Klingon who doesn't believe in OSHA, this is like an extra mile, if that makes any sense.
And I imagine it sounds like an old 6-liter turning over.
More like a 4-liter, but yeah. Yeah, it's not a pretty sight. But yeah, Kagix points and says, I have tried many things. The first thing I tried was amplifying the tertiary nucleonic gradient stabilizer, but that did not seem to work.
Krull laughs and says, of course it wouldn't. With this level of power containment, you wouldn't be able to sustain it.
Well, what would you suggest then?
I'd suggest having never built or having decommissioned this hunk of junk about 100 years ago, I'd say. But have you let's see. He suggests looking at the dilithium containment chamber, because there's probably plate misalignment of the gravity plates that sustain the warp core reaction.
Okay. So, as I do for every time something like this comes up, I'm going to give you a choice here. We can either
You already know what I'm going to choose, though.
Yeah, because you've got Miracle Worker, but I got to offer it anyway. There's the illusion of choice. Do you want a single high difficulty, or do you want an extended task?
Extended task.
All right, let's type it out. So, the intervals of time will very much matter here because you only have about 8 minutes by the time you got down here. So, the work track is going to be out of 12. The magnitude will start at a 4. The difficulty will also start at a 4. There will be a resistance of 1 because you're under pressure. And you only have 4 intervals of time. Now, as a reminder, you can spend either a momentum or threat to only have 1 interval of time instead of the usual 2, but that is what you're looking at the moment. Now, as a bonus, what I would say is that when you make an attempt at repairing the warp core, we're going to go to Matoga, and Matoga will have a similar either high difficulty or extended task to buy you time from thrusters, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
All right. So, you're up first, Krell, and this is definitely a daring in engineering.
Mm-hmm. And I have a focus of warp engines.
Oh, and I have a complication from chat. You know what? I'm gonna take threat for that one.
Thank God. Alrighty, let's see.
Hey, what does God need with a starship?
I mean, valid points.
Yeah. So remind me again of how I make work. If I succeed, I roll challenge dice, correct?
Correct, yes. If you are able to pass the difficulty of 4, you roll 2 plus your discipline score, so you'd be rolling 7 challenge dice to do work.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
Now, unfortunately, you don't have any momentum at the moment, so you're probably going to want to either spend your determination and or some threat here.
Yes, I think I'm probably going to spend my point of determination. And do I have to invoke a value for that? I think
You
so,
do.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Probably nothing a little elbow grease can't fix.
All right, I love it. So I assume you want the 2 free successes to start with.
Yes, and then I'm going to give you a threat to roll an extra.
It would be 2 threat because it would be the 4th die.
Oh, right,
technically.
right. Yep, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, using focus, using determination, 3 die. Come on.
That is
Yeah.
about what I expect from you, honestly. So you do get 2 momentum back for your troubles, and now's where we roll work to see how efficient you are. So again, that is 2 plus your discipline, so 7 challenge dice, please.
We said we got, all right, two momentum back.
Yes.
Right. 7 challenge dice?
Yep.
Whoa, that's a 70, not 7. Can it be 70? Can I roll
Nah.
7?
Yeah, no, that's right. It was 70.
Okay, well, that is important because after resistance, you're doing 6 work and you have miracle workers. So you actually make 2 very important breakthroughs in a very short amount of time. And I'll give this to you after the fact. Do you want to give me a threat or do you want to give me a momentum so you only spend 1 interval of time doing this?
I will spend a momentum.
Okay.
11th threat, starting to get scary.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you get to work, Krell. She's looking over your shoulder and she's almost taking notes at how efficient and how much of a miracle worker you're being in this moment. And it gets to the point where Kagix just kind of whistles and goes, "That is impressive. I would have never thought to have checked the nanobarian dampening coupling. How did you know to check there?"
Let's see. Krell, he's guts deep in the nanobarian dampening coupling substation, and he just kind of clicks his he clicks his tongue just like God damn it, I'm busy. How much time do we have left?
You have 6 minutes.
Oh, that's more time than I thought. Can you go get me some more light here?
Of course. And she comes over with what I would like you to imagine. It's like a Klingon pain stick, but instead of the pain, it's just this little flashlight at the end. And she offers you a little bit of light. It's not a whole lot, but it's something.
Let's be clear. I'm sure it still has a pain function. It's just not
Oh,
on right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. All right, so that's Krell's first roll. Now we're going to go back to Matoga to see if we buy you any additional time. So Matoga, same offer. Do you want a single high difficulty or do you want an extended task?
I want a single high difficulty task like I always do.
Wonderful. I love it. So Matoga, this is definitely a daring and con once again. This will be a difficulty of 4. However, I'm also going to spend some threat here to make the complication range now a 17 to 20.
Got it. Okay. So, I don't. So we're talking about impulse engines here. What am I manipulating?
Literally the reaction control system or thrusters.
Oh, just literally the thrusters themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not fall under. God, the shipboard is great. The tactical systems part of my focus, not so much. Okay.
Not so much.
All right. Tell you what. Can I invoke this value that I have? Leave no stone unturned. Where I am, as I'm doing this, I'm also like splitting between other sort of stations to try to figure out if there's I'm looking at even things tangentially related to the thrusters to see if there's any way that I can juice this kind of attempt here, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sort of covering all the bases.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, I'm going to spend my determination then. I want to get my automatic crit here.
Okay.
So 2 successes. Let's see, daring and con. And I used determination. Complication range is 4, right?
Mm-hmm. And then do you want any additional dice?
Yeah, I think I do if everyone's okay with that.
Well, you have a choice. It's either 1 momentum, 1 threat, or you could just give me 2 threat.
Wait, I thought the first extra dice was.
Well, determination
one
counts
momentum.
as the first extra die. So the second die, yeah, it's that little thing that always happens when you spend determination.
Stupid
Two
rules.
threat.
I can't wait until second edition eliminates all these rules.
Well, we'll find out by Gen Con.
They said it was going to be backwards compatible, so I have to imagine they're not going to do that.
Oh no, it's gonna be all. It'll just be all fairy dust now. That's all.
It's actually just one big holodeck adventure.
Oh yeah, it's all about Lieutenant Barclay now. Yeah, okay. I'll spend 1 momentum and give you a threat if that's okay with everybody.
Yep.
I mean, what's the difference between 8 threat and 9 threat, really?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Rolling 3 dice.
Oh,
yeah, how about that?
Lord. All right, you get 3 momentum back for your troubles, and now is where you get to roll some challenge dice. If you could roll me 2 plus con, so that would be 5 challenge dice, please.
5 challenge dice. Okay.
Like, wow, I'm actually looking at your roll. That was 3 1s. Like, no joke. Those are Vegas. Like, go to Vegas, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
He's already used his luck up now.
Yeah. I mean, I know one of those was determination, but still, 3 1s. That's amazing. All right. So you have the option here. Is you can either have 4 additional intervals, which would raise the extended tasks that Krell is doing. It would raise it to an interval of 1 out of 8. Or you could spend a momentum and you could make that effect that it is now 12. Because the intervals are going to keep ticking even when they fix the warp reactor, because then they have to go fix the impulse reactor, if you remember correctly. So it's how much time do you want to buy here?
I think given that we are next to... Oh, let me just look out the window here. A black hole. Yeah, we should probably have more time. So, yeah, I'm going to spend the momentum to bump that up to 12.
Okay. So why don't you narrate that out a little bit as you and Gress kind of do your thing. I think Gress shouts, "Have you tried rerouting power from the starboard arrays?"
Of course I've tried rerouting power from that array. This is not my first... Wait, do Klingons have the concept of the rodeo?
We call it a targ wrestle, but yes.
Ah, yes, this is not my first targ wrestle. Also, if you'll press the sensor there on the the console in front of you. Yes, twice. Wait, no, once. That doesn't matter. He's like flitting around, pressing buttons, and just he's even like doing that that thing you do in like an old-fashioned arcade where you shake the pinball machine a little bit. He's doing that to one of the consoles, trying to tilt it.
I literally am half tempted to have a tilt sign on the bridge, but I'm not going to go that far. But yeah, so back down in engineering, Krell, and you would feel this on the bridge as well, Matoga. There is the shutter, a great almost earthquake-like shutter in the deck plates as the thrusters strain to buy yourself precious time. And yeah, you're now out of 1 out of 12 intervals remaining. And
Fantastic.
I think as that rumbling through the deck plating does happen, I think Kagax is going to say, "Well, it seems that your tactical officer was able to find a way to buy us more time. You Starfleet are very resourceful."
Yes, Starfleet officers are multidisciplinary experts. We specialize in more than just war.
Then perhaps when this is all over, I could treat you to my further expertise in Klingon opera.
Pass, thank you.
That was a joke, by the way. I am working on my humor.
I thought Klingons didn't value humor.
You have not met the right Klingons.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Pass me that servo spanner over there.
Very well. Do you wish to have a self-sealing sembolt as well?
What am I going to use a self-stealing sembolt here? No, just the spanner.
But it would help patch up the tertiary polaron conversion harmonic.
And how is that supposed to help stabilize the warp core engine? The warp core. You know what? Don't answer that. Just give me the servo spanner.
She hands you both all the same.
I see a meet cute.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I want to like if I can, I want Matoga to be able to access the ship intercom system,
mhm.
and I want to say, attention crew, this is Matoga, son of Sarah. I am the one who has prolonged your lives. Hail to me! And also, Krell, if you can sort of make haste with this, that'd be great. Thank you.
Just that's it. Just big sigh.
All right. Well, Krell, it's another daring engineering. The difficulty's only a 2.
Focus. Still gonna spend a momentum.
And technically, this is testing a theory, so you can roll 1 additional d20.
Oh, dope. All right. If I fail this, gosh.
Ah, you nail it. That's another 2 momentum, which I believe brings you up to 3. And then, yeah, all I have to see is 7 work done, and then you can move on to the impulse reactor.
It's 70 challenge dice again.
No, just 7.
I'll get you sometime.
Okay, so what I would tell you is you can either spend 1 momentum to reroll as many of those as you wish, or you could spend 2 momentum to get the additional work that you need without risking it.
I'll spend the 2 momentum.
Okay. So you are able to stabilize the malfunctioning resonance cascade of the warp cores. And before, where there was sort of that dangerous jolts of electricity and power between the 2 Tesla coil-like structures, there's now a steady thrum as the EPS conduits descend and lock into place to solidify the reaction. And Kagax looks up and goes, "When my captain said that Starfleet engineers were impeccable, you took 6 minutes to do that."
I straighten my back, wipe the sweat off my brow. I'm got covered in grime and whatnot. And says, I would have been able to do it quicker if I was working with Starfleet tech.
I did see that you still use the self-stealing sembolt.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I threw that away. He blatantly lies.
Very well, then perhaps we should go to the impulse reactor next.
Lead the way.
And again, shitty small ship, 1 door turn later, you arrive in something that's actually very familiar to you because you may or may not have dealt with it in a certain aquatic episode in last season.
Right.
So yeah, I'm
Can you
just
remind
typing
me
out the
exactly
extended
what that
task
is?
here. Let's see. So the impulse reactor, you know what? I'm going to spend some thread here to make it a little bit more challenging. So that would be that much, and that would be that much.
So the added challenge is that the room is filled with gach.
No, but what is going to be a problem is that the life support in this area of the ship is not great. So I'm actually going to introduce the complication that every attempt you make, every interval of time you spend in this space, you're going to have to roll me a fitness and a command. If you fail that roll, you pass out.
Oh, I'm going to pass out. Alrighty. Krell starts coughing as soon as Kagax.
Mm-hmm.
as soon as Kagax opens up the port door, and he reels back and says, "God, oh, what is that?
That is an impulse reactor.
I mean the awful smell."
That is a shitty life support system.
Oh, God damn it. Give me a second, and I back away, open up my communicator, and say, "Krell to Matoga."
Yes, what do you want?
Is there anything you can do about the life support back in the... We're in the thruster bay?
Oh, I see. So I'm the one in the tin can, and now you want extra life support? That's fine.
Yeah, you have it. I'm going to pass out here if I stay in here any longer. And I haven't even gotten in.
That's stupid human lungs. Just a second.
He's bullying.
I don't see race. Okay. I don't know about you guys. This is the what century is this?
23rd, I think.
23rd still? Is it still 23rd? This is the 23rd century, please. Stupid bullying lungs. Yes. Yeah, I mean I'll give it all she's got, Captain.
All right. Well, if you want to give me a control and a command, Matoga, difficulty of 1, you might be able to make the role of fitness and command for Krell a little bit easier when they have to make it.
I will give it a shot. Control and command. Anything here that would be helpful?
Well, I mean, if you want to intimidate the life support systems, maybe.
Well, I mean, I'd love to, but somehow I don't think that's narratively coherent, let's say. Okay. No focus, no determination, regular things. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight 2d20.
All right, you get your 1 success. All right, so Krell, what I'm going to say is that instead of the difficulty of it being a 2 on your fitness command, it is now a difficulty of 1. You still got to make the roll, though, after each attempt.
That makes sense.
All right. So, bread and butter, daring engineering, you have a focus, you have testing a theory, you're starting at 3d20, difficulty of 3.
Alrighty. Oh,
Foliage breathe oxygen, right?
I'm going... yes.
Okay. Enjoy your oxygen.
Thank you, Matoga.
All right.
Ah,
So, we now have to enter into a bit of what do we do here? Because technically, testing a theory does not trigger your cautious engineering because no momentum was spent. I believe your option here is you can either succeed with a complication, or you could challenge a value to get your determination back to then spend on a reroll.
I will challenge my value. The only good Klingon is a dead Klingon.
Okay.
And I'll step away from the engines and give Kagax a look, and then stare back at the engines, and then reluctantly ask her if she could lend me a hand and point me in the direction of the backup exhaust feed controller.
Of course, it is right over there.
He doesn't thank her, but he dutifully returns to work.
All right. It also occurs to me that I've never really offered this before, but you could technically spend your new determination point to create an advantage, which could lower the difficulty to a 2. So you could succeed that way if you didn't want to roll. Though the trick would be you'd have to tell me what it is you're doing to create this advantage.
Let's see. What exactly is wrong with the engines again? They're just not working?
They're just not working.
They're just not working?
I'd scroll up to see what technobabble I used, but basically
Yeah,
there's
sure.
a power flow issue, and part of that was because of the warp core resonance cascade. But there's still some power flow issues that are persisting and not giving ample power.
Alrighty. Oh, I brought power cells with me.
You did.
I'm gonna hook up the power cells and provide some ancillary power.
All right. So with that, you will succeed. Now comes the challenge dice part.
Alrighty.
Okay, just type 70 in there. And,
Okay. So that would be 5 work done after accounting for resistance. So that would be, again, 2 breakthroughs for you, unless you want to re-roll for anything there.
I'll re-roll those 2 zeros.
Okay. So that would cost momentum.
Oh, I'm already in the roll dice, so I'll remove the
gotcha.
momentum after.
Okay, so you get 1 more. And then interval goes up to that. All right, so good news. You're halfway there. You're almost done. Bad news. It is now time for that fitness command at a difficulty of 1 to see if you remain coherent and cognizant.
Alrighty. Come on. Oh.
Okay, so you actually get 2 momentum back from that. So maybe it's the thrill of being under the wire, or maybe it's just something about this environment, but you feel amazing. You feel great. This is very odd for you.
I'm getting into this.
You put in a transfer request to get onto the IKS Clang.
I think what would happen in this situation is Krell is slipping back into the kind of mechanical, just go, go, go momentum that he had to adopt during the war.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I envision this happening.
Okay. Now I'm going to offer you a devil's bargain. If you spend 2 momentum, I'm going to say that you can complete this extended task and save the Clang from falling into a black hole, but there will be a complication. Alternatively, you could just roll. Rolling is always an option.
You know what? Let's just roll. We get to roll more dice that way.
Fair enough. Well, it might be the last time daring engineering. Difficulty of 1 on this one. But you know what? Let's keep things interesting. Put in a 5 for when you get to complication range.
I'll just get to work making a new character.
You said difficulty 1?
Difficulty of 1.
Spend a momentum.
All right, 3 successes, meaning you get 2 momentum back. And yeah, 7 challenge die. I just need to see 7 work done. Okay, so again, you have the option of either spending 2 momentum to get the 7, or you can re-roll with 1 momentum those 2 blank phases.
I'll spend the 1 momentum.
Okay, go ahead and let's hope you are more successful. Okay, so it looks like you would still have to spend the 1 momentum, but it kind of ended up being a net positive either way. All right, so after a little bit of percussive maintenance, a little bit about rerouting power where it should go, and yeah, the impulse drive kicks back into life. And Matoga, and those of you on the Aristotle still, you do see that the running lights of the Clang come back to life. and the Clang does start to move away from the event horizon of the black hole. Now, it's not the fastest ship in the world. Shit, yeah, you know what I meant. But it
No, you were right.
is, it's a shitty ship. You are able to get to a safe distance, and the Aristotle is able to pull back. And it's at this point that we're going to go to a break because I realize we're at that hour mark. So when we come back, we'll deal with the aftermath of saving the vessel. And no, I won't end on a cliffhanger. I think this will just be a nice moment of victory for the players. Unless the players want to end on a cliffhanger? Question mark.
We'll discuss it.
Okay, we're gonna go to a break here. We'll be back shortly, everybody. Stick around. And welcome back to part 2 of season 2, episode 3 of Star Trek Aristotle, where the players, well, mostly Krell and Matoga, but mostly Krell, have done the impossible and have continued Starfleet's line of miracle worker engineers to save the IKS Klang from falling into a black hole. At this point, the Aristotle and the Klang are moving away from the black hole at impulse speeds to a safe point to jump to warp. But in the meantime, we're now going to focus on Cullen Thestral and the captain of the Klang, Groth, son of Krolag. So Groth, well, I guess I should actually ask this first. So, Cullen, where would you have taken Groth while all that was going on?
Probably to like some quarters, whatever we have that would be considered as diplomatic and nice as possible if we have any such quarters.
There's always the galley.
I was going to say the galley is always an option.
Yeah, the galley has people in it though, and he's a Klingon.
Well, the other thing I would say is that you, as a talent on your ship, you do have diplomatic suites.
Yeah, we'll stow him in there.
Okay. So Groth, as he steps into the high-quality stateroom, he kind of looks around and goes, "This is what I expect from Starfleet coddling, but this is an acceptable place to wait for your engineer and your security officer to do their fine work."
Oh, I'm happy that the room is to your liking. If there's anything you'd like to eat, we don't have anything, I guess, blood-soaked, but we can try and find something.
Actually, I have been meaning to try a bit of Terran cuisine.
Oh, what did you have in mind?
Strawberry milk.
I'll get that for you.
Very well, thank you.
And
Strawberry cow went extinct centuries ago.
Cullen will head on out. And he's going to assign an ensign to, get him his drink and just keep an eye.
Okay.
And you'll head back to the bridge.
Back to the bridge, that was my question. All right. Thestral, what are you doing while that whole escapade on the Klang is going on? Are you going to stay on the bridge watching, or?
Oh yeah, I imagine I was at my station. This is a pretty tense time, so yeah, I'm definitely at my station.
So yeah, with Cullen and Thestral on the bridge, let me check how many intervals was it? I think it was 5 intervals. Yeah, it was 7 intervals total. So after about 14 minutes, again, bought time from Matoga. After about 14 minutes, the Klang does start moving with you. And again, you all are heading away from the black hole at this point.
Well, the captain will sit down and just watch the screen, but he's not focusing on it. And after several moments of contemplating thought, he'll look over to Thestral and he's like, status of the Klingon vessel?
Repairs seem to be well underway and effective, Captain. It is moving at 0.25 impulse.
Well, good to hear. Do me a favor and just sweep the area.
Yes, sir. So Thestral's hands will move across the his console and begin a sensor sweep.
All right. Now, I do have to ask, what is it Cullen's looking for in this sensor suite?
Anything?
Well, you're going to have to be more specific than anything.
He's looking for any anomalies, tachyon emissions.
Cloaked Klingon vessels?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I know where your head's at. All right, Thestral, this is going to be a reason and a security in this aspect. And the ship will assist you with a sensor security. The difficulty on this will be a 1.
Okay. You know what? I'm not that great at security issues, so I'm going to want to spend that momentum.
Okay. Well, would you believe that Thestral has rolled 2 complications? So
I don't need to believe it. I can see it right there.
Yeah. So we literally went from 2 double 1s to 2 double 20s. That's amazing,
Wow.
actually.
We're a crew of extremes here.
Clearly. Wow. So Thestral, you do have the option of spending determination here to change or re-roll, I should say, those 2 complications. But you got to tell me what value you'd be challenging, or, and this is just me playing a bit of the devil here, you could just take the 2 complications.
Well, I don't have any value that I could really challenge here that would be applicable.
Well, it doesn't have to be challenged. You just have to use it.
Yeah, I don't have any value that would be even useful here. Well, finish what you start, maybe?
No, it's one of those rare situations where I got to say I don't think that applies, unfortunately.
All right, then I'm going to take the complications.
Okay. Complication 1, the interference from the black hole has kicked up a notch, and you are unable to see really anything outside of your immediate area. So you can see the Clang, you can see within medium range of the Aristotle, but you cannot see anything beyond that because of the interference from the black hole. Complication 2 is that you are noticing that there is a power surge coming from what Commander River identified earlier as a disruptor bank on the Clang.
Captain, scans are inconclusive. Unfortunately, we're entering a moment where we are entering into the active phase of the Doppler beaming of the corona of the singularity. Wait, Captain? Captain, the disruptor bank on the Klingon vessel is charging up. It looks like it's having a power surge.
Shouldn't have pushed all those buttons, Matoga.
Raise shields and get them on communications.
You're not going to blame me for this.
Hailing frequencies open, Captain.
Clang, what's the matter with your weapons?
And because I have 2 threat, Matoga, Krell, you hear it. You can't reply to it. The interference is too great.
Krell, still in the engine bay, opens up his communicator and says, Matoga, what the hell's going on up there?
We're all fine here. Everything's fine. How are you?
Oh my God.
Be serious for once in a while. What's going on with the phasers?
Okay, my voice is unserious, but I assure you my hands are quite serious. And he's like jumping between different panels, like trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Also looking incredulously at other Klingon whose name escapes me.
I'll put them all in chat again because it is quite a mouthful.
Gress, yes.
There you go.
Looking at Gress.
Well, Matoga, this is going to be a reason and a security. You have a focus of shipboard tactical systems. The difficulty is only a 1.
Okay. Shipboard tactical systems it is. Reason and security are selected. No momentum. Nothing going here. Let's just do it. Cool. Cool and good.
Yeah, your only option here is, well, you have two options. You can either just take the failure and a complication, or you could challenge a value and get a determination here.
Okay. What can I challenge here, though?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, I'm gonna list my values, and you guys tell me if any of these you think are challengeable. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
So Matoga has peace through superior firepower. He has leave no stone unturned. He has everyone is the architect of their own future, and sensors can't tell you everything. Yeah,
I think
say
the third one.
everyone is the architect of their own future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or demise in this case.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I don't specify if the future is a good one.
That is true.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to challenge everyone as the architect of their own future.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to say that Matoga, in a moment, he allows himself a moment of weakness and vulnerability here. He will slam his fist on one of the Klingon consoles and then turn to Gress and look at her in like with a gaze that says like, help me, I can't, like I'm lost.
Okay. That'll give you your determination back, and you can reroll both of those die.
Okay.
Double complication.
If you roll
right.
another one at this point, it's the dice want to tell a story.
Okay, so the focus is still
The
in
dice want to
place.
suck into the black hole is what they want.
Here we go.
Okay, no, that's 2 successes, meaning you
Better.
you get a momentum back. So Gress is going to actually start laughing, but not in a mean way. She goes, I know I like the fire within your eyes. Yes, hit the console. Tell it what you really mean. Also, the sudden power flow from the fixed warp and impulse engines are why our disruptor bank is currently overloading. However, I believe we can reroute the power elsewhere, but it would not be pleasant for those in the engineering bay.
Matoga will a holographic light bulb will appear above his head. He will have an idea. He will say, "What if we? Yes, diverting the power is good, but what if we were able to transfer it to your shield system and convert it into ultraviolet light to create a sort of a light show, if you will."
We usually only do raves on Sundays.
Oh, what day is it?
It is Tuesday.
Ah, space. Well, make an exception this once.
She winks and does her work. But I do have to ask, back on the Aristotle, Cullen, Thestral, you have not gotten a reply from your away team, and the Disruptor Bank, as far as you know, is still charging.
Hell, move us into their line of engagement.
Aye,
Captain, I
sir.
still can't raise them.
What was that?
I said I still can't raise them, but I could try, in the words of Mr. Minetti, do some ANAR nonsense or some ANAR stuff to try and
You
reach
said
them.
the sensors are being disrupted by the radiation. Let's just go under faith that it's maybe picking up something wrong.
Yes, sir. And he'll go back and secure his station.
We'll try and hail them again, and once we're little further away.
I'll keep trying, sir. See if I can break through some of this interference.
Thanks, Hilton. I mean, Thestral.
I think River-
was that an out of character or an in character thing?
In character.
In character. Okay, I'm gonna clock that for later.
Yeah, I think River will give you a concerned look, Captain, but she's not going to say anything in the moment. But yeah, back on the Clang. Matoga, do you clue in Krell what you're about to do? Oh, did I lose people?
Nope, I hear you.
Ah. So are you going to clue in Krell, or are you going to do this solo?
I'm sorry, what am I cluing Krell into?
The shield plan, taking the energy from
Oh,
the
yes,
disruptor banks.
of course. Yeah, I'm gonna activate the intercom system again, and say, "This is Matoga, son of Sarah. Attention, crew. I know that it is not a Sunday, but nonetheless, the spirit of rave possesses us all. Prepare for a light show created by your shields. And if you have any of the little sticks that you crack and make the little, the green light or what have you, break those out now."
And I think down in the engineering bay, I think Kagex just looks up at the intercom, then looks at you, Krell, and goes, "I was not aware that you all had Starfleet humor of this kind."
Krell is just staring up at the intercom and then slowly looks at Kagax and says, "We don't. Matoga is a special one."
Then do you really think he's about to cause a light show?
Probably.
Well, normally I would be okay with this. However, I must point out that the shielding in this area of the ship is not what it should be. We may need to move elsewhere to avoid a radiation exposure.
Do you really think that's going to make a difference? The entire ship is 100 meters long.
Well, a few extra inches of duratanium can make a difference.
Perhaps we should go into the deuterium hold. The deuterium should shield us from some of the worst effects.
You are aware that that would be a very cramped squeeze.
As opposed to the rest of your glorious ship?
A fair point. And then, yeah, as I like to imagine, Krell gets up close and personal. Matoga, this is going to be a daring and a security, or a daring engineering, your call. This is going to be a difficulty of 3. However, I will tell you that your friend Gress will assist you because of that earlier determination spend. And I'll even roll her dice first. She gets you 1 die as an assist.
1 die or 1 success?
1 success.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to use, as much as I'd love to use my engineering of 1, I'm going to use security instead.
And shipboard tactical systems would apply.
Lovely. I'll take it. Let's see. Complication range is the same?
Same. Yep. I got no more threat to mess with you.
All right. I'd like to spend the momentum to get another die.
Okay. Well,
of course.
I mean, you got the 3 you needed, but there's a complication. So, okay, let me ask Krell, because I want this to be a player agency thing. Do you want me to be mean to Krell, or do you want me to be mean to Matoga?
Oh, you could be mean to me.
Yes.
I am shoved in a deuterium hold.
I just wanted to be sure, because I didn't want to railroad you into anything.
With his future wife.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the complication's going to be, you do manage to divert the energy from the disruptor banks into the shields, and it does cause a very pretty light show. However, in the process, something gets mixed in the command lines, techno mumble jumbo wibbly wobbly timey wimey. The deuterium tank is ejected from the Klang. And I think it's one of those things where, again, you're with Kagax, and she's looking out, and you all feel the pod rumbling, and then she goes, I think we were just ejected from the vessel.
Krell just sighs, crammed into the crevice that he has, and tries to reach for his communicator, futilely trying to contact the Aristotle.
So we now go back to the Aristotle. I have a very important question to ask of Thestral. Thestral, you see that the deuterium tank has been ejected. Would you think to scan it?
Yes, because that should not happen.
Okay. So very important roll, Thestral. I need you to make me a reason and an engineering. Difficulty of 1, assisted by the ship's sensors engineering.
Okay, if someone could roll for the ship for me, that'd be great.
All right, you got the 1. We just don't want to see a complication from the ship. No, ship actually
good
gets you
job,
2
ship.
more successes. There's 2 momentum for you. All right. So, what that's going to mean is that you are able to detect that there is a Klingon and a Bolian in that deuterium pod.
Captain, the Klang just ejected their deuterium pod, and there's a Klingon and Mr. Krell in it. What is going on over there?
You also then see the light show.
I'm going to guess Matoga has something to do with that.
Right. Beam the occupants aboard.
Was that directed to me?
No, it's just in general. I
Oh,
think
okay.
Commander River was debating saying something, but I think she says, "Aye, sir. I will see to it myself." And about a couple seconds later, you get a report from the transporter room that both individuals are aboard.
Right. Try hailing them again.
I will keep trying, Captain. Is there any way I can break through this interference?
If you give it about 5 minutes more to get away from the black hole, you can get communication to them again.
Right. Captain, I have the Klang. Putting them through now, sir.
This is Aristotle to the Klang. You gave us a quite nice little light show there. Is everything okay?
I think if Matoga has an option, are we doing the view screen thing, or are we just doing over sound?
Your call.
I'd like to do view screen, and I would like Matoga to assume a Captain Morgan-esque pose with one foot jauntily up on the captain's chair, and say, "Attention, weakling Starfleet vessel! It is I, Matoga, son of Sarah, acting captain of the IKS Klang. What say you?"
What's the status of the repairs?
Oh, that everything's fine.
Very well. Let the crew know that we will be beaming back their captain and another individual that they seem to have ejected into space from a deuterium pod.
Oh, my king, the beaming back of the captain, that's going to be awkward because I did accept a promotion just now, so that's going to cause some workplace conflict.
Aristotle out.
Oh, wait,
Commander River, can you come to the bridge and take the
I'm
chair?
actually here already, sir.
Oh, you have the seat.
Oh
And
no, the
then-
captain's going senile.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where River does sit in the chair, but waits about 30 seconds after Cullen leaves before looking over at Thestral and go, Thestral, can you go shadow him? Make sure he's okay?
Yes, sir. Now get up and transfer to the relief comm officer.
So before we do the captain scene, I just want to resolve the hanging issue with with Krell and Kagax.
Kagax.
So Kagax
Krell and
and you,
Mrs. Krell.
yeah. So the two of you do get out of the deuterium pod and are no worse for the wear. Maybe you smell a little bit too much like a Klingon. I leave to your discretion what that means. But Kagax just kind of brushes herself off and goes, "Well, I must admit, I was not expecting you to be this helpful. I was honestly expecting to perish within a black hole, which would not have been an honorable death."
No, I suppose it wouldn't. Not enough bodies littering the fields.
Ah, you have seen war then.
He just gives her a pointed stare and says, "So I imagine you'll be beaming back with the captain soon? You are going to have to recover that pod."
It should not be an issue. However, might I make a personal request?
You may.
And she pulls out a self-sealing stem bolt and hands it to you. The next time you need one, please use that one. For as much as you have aided my vessel, perhaps I can aid yours in a small way. A token of the cooperation between our two polities, as it were.
He takes it up and holds it into the light, looking at it, and then clutches it in his hands and says after a moment, "If it passes our regulations,
Oh, I imagine
suppose.
it won't.
Well, then I'll keep it for when I need it in a pinch."
Very well. Then perhaps I should beam back now with the deuterium pod. And unless you stop her, she literally picks up the now empty deuterium pod, puts it next to her on the pad, and looks over to the transporter chief, unless you want to say or do anything.
No, he'll probably just be playing with the stem bolt in his hand,
Okay.
waiting for her to beam out.
All right, so
Cool. Can we
Kagax
please
does
walk
again the oh, what? Sorry. Oh, yep.
I was just say, can Cullen and I please walk in on this at this point?
Well, that depends on Cullen's destination. Where was Cullen headed?
He is going to find. He's going to go to his quarters.
Okay. So unfortunately, no, you were headed to the captain's quarters. Unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, Kagax does the fist across her chest again and goes, "Kapla! Krell, son of..." Sorry, I don't think I
Wow.
ever heard who you were the son of.
That's a good question. I haven't come up with his father's name. Um,
Now you know how I feel when you ask me for a name.
Mott Krell. That's his name.
Very well, Krell, son of Mott. I hope that you find honorable combat and worthy foes in your future.
Thanks, I guess.
Transporter
You
chief,
too.
you may energize. And then she beams away back to her ship. And then I think because, unless I misunderstand where Shizno's going with this, we're not going to see the captain of the clan go back, but Matoga, you'll come back over when the captain goes over, kind of a switch. Because I think our final scene is going to probably be in the captain's quarters between Thestral and Cullen. So Cullen, I think you would be somewhat aware that Thestral is following you, unless Thestral's being really sneaky about it. Would you still be going to your quarters?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you two set the scene here.
How long does Thestral go to the door, and how long until he goes to the door after the captain gets in?
He's like following almost right behind you. I'm not being subtle. So he'll arrive at the door almost immediately after you get there. I'll ring the doorbell.
Who is it?
It's Thestral, sir.
Right. Come in.
Thank you, Captain.
And you see him. He's already like undoing like the tightness of his uniform. There, he's just getting a drink ready. What can I do for you?
Honestly, Captain, I'm not entirely sure why I'm here. Commander River sent me to quote unquote shadow you, sir. I think she's concerned for you.
Hmm.
Does she have any reason to be concerned?
Oh, probably thinking I'm getting old.
Well, that's relative. You more than anyone else on this ship know about that, sir.
What did you do during the war?
I was in the academy, sir.
You were one of the few ones that didn't get drafted?
Yes, sir.
I stopped teaching. You know why?
Was that related to the war? No, I don't. Please, may I sit?
Go ahead.
Sit down, and I have my visual support animal perch on my shoulder.
This guy kind of lean on the counter. He's next to. He's just looking at his drink, holding it with both hands, just kind of like tapping it, just staring at it. Like, you know, I'm old. I've joked about all the things I've done, all the people I've met, and I get war happens. I've been through them. I've participated in some of them, and others I kind of kept more of a distance. And when you live as long as, well, one of my species do, you go through different phases. At first, you're excited. You make new friends. You even find people that you can call companions and partners. Sometimes you start a family. And then you see them age, grow old, and then you stare down at their grave. And it hurts. At first. Then that makes you become cold. You start to stay away, keep yourself distant from everyone. And then you get bored. That lasts the longest. It's not losing anyone, you've accepted that you'll lose people. So you live with them in that moment and you treasure those memories. But that boredom sits for a long time. And then you get to find people that are exceptional in their own way. And you help nurture that. Kind of like a farmer nurturing his crops. Put effort into it. You still keep them a bit of at a distance, but you still care for it. And when the war started, I expected, casualties and stuff like that, but seeing the names of the kids I taught on missing in action report, killed in action, or having to be discharged due to traumatic stress, you visit them and you see that they're just broken. Whatever held them to that exceptional nature is gone, taken away by war. We don't forget my species. We're incapable of it. It gets muddy sometimes to remember, especially for a long-lived one, but we never forget. And I'm never going to forget the faces of those that survived. I'm never going to forget the ones we lost. Diana Helsing. She was a brilliant student. She loved language. She could actually sing the modern Major General song in enough unique languages to cover the whole thing. There would be no repeating dialogue of another language. It's all unique. She was on a vessel called Melbourne that was destroyed by the Klingons. It was a science vessel. Minimal armaments. They weren't even anywhere near active zones. They just happened to come across a Klingon vessel.
I'm so sorry, sir. I can't imagine what that must be like for you, for someone whose experience is so vast and perspective is so vast. I do have similar experiences. My family worked on a humanitarian vessel, civilian humanitarian vessel, that would travel from disaster to disaster. And growing up, I was around all kinds of helpers, people who would sacrifice time and go through considerable risk to help other people. And it seems like that's what gave me hope through all this. That's what gave me hope through these wars. And you're right, we lost so many talented people. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say other than we keep swimming. We keep going.
Oh, I know that. It's just when you look at someone and they're the face of the enemy that you've been told that have done these awful things, it's hard not to think about those gone. I know that we're at peace with them now, or at least a truce. But even for my kind, loss is still loss. Still grieve the same. And I do apologize for letting that slip.
I want to make sure I understand this correctly. You're apologizing for having a moment of authenticity with me. That's not anything that, in my opinion, you should apologize about, sir. I would very much like to know more about this Diana Halson and anyone else you would like to talk to me about. You know, Minetti and I used to have lunches on Tuesdays, and I really miss his company. And my Tuesdays are uh, kind of have an open spot right now. If it's inappropriate to ask, please tell me this. But you're always welcome to join me in the galley for lunches on Tuesdays.
As long as there's no gym requirement afterwards.
No, sir. No, sir. He laughs at that. I'm still working on getting Krell in the gym. I haven't worked my way up to you yet. You're good.
Well, it's always bad to never toast or drink, so to those that are gone, may they always be remembered.
And may they always be an inspiration for us moving forward, sir. Hear, hear.
And give you a nod and you'll drink his drink.
And we'll do one of those classic Star Trek shots where we just kind of fly out of the window, fly away from the ship. We see the Aristotle angling to the left, the Klang moving to the right, and both ships jump away in opposite directions to warp speed. And that is where we're going to end today's session. Yeah. Well done all around. All right. So, quick thing before I kick us off to other streams is that both Matoga and Krell, make a note for yourself or do it now. Your challenged value, you do have to replace it with a new one. It doesn't necessarily have to be a amendment of the one you crossed out, but I wouldn't make it like dramatically different. Like make it different enough that it matters, but don't make it like, oh, instead of me liking blue, I now like green or red, or hopefully that makes sense.
You pitiful Starfleet, I've already done so.
All right. Well, other than that, I think that's where we're going to call the session to a close for sure. Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, this is where we'll say goodbye. Bye, YouTube.